right, welcome to another episode of the Brothers of Metal. I'm Michael.
Hey, I'm John.
So, in light of this being the end of 2022, we decided to do a video listing our 5 favorite albums of the year. We would do more if we could come up with more, but as when we were discussing that, it was a little hard for us to even come up with 5. I've seen some artists make these enormous lists, like I think Vikram Shankar from Redemption Borealis. He had like a top 25 list. So I guess if you're really, really plugged in, and as a musician, you could come up with a lot of stuff. But for us, we kept it to 5, and then we wanted to talk about a few albums that we're looking forward to in 2023, or a few, maybe some are hopeful, some are done deals. But anyway, John, I'm gonna throw it over to you first. Let's hear your top 5 albums of 2022.
Are we go back and forth or just list all 5?
Go ahead and list all 5. Okay. Not too many.
Yeah. All right, you got it. So my number 5, go in descending order. I gotta cheat a little bit.
So this is an actual, you put them in order, because I couldn't put them in order. I just listed 5, but
I put mine in order.
All right, sweet.
Well, because it truly is like from least favorite of the favorites to the most favorite. So
yeah,
I do have a tie for kind of 5th place, or if we were choosing 5, I would choose 6, just because it's kind of hard for me to choose between these two.
Yep.
So up first is going to be New from Blind Guardian, the God Machine.
Did you finally get to do like a deep dive to that album?
A little bit.
Okay.
Listen, I only picked it up recently, so
yeah,
streamed it when it came out, and then been kind of diving into it on the physical release.
Okay.
And it's definitely a grower. I'm probably going to end up liking it, I hate to say, more than the
Beyond the Red Mirror.
Beyond the Red Mirror, yeah.
Wow.
Probably.
Yeah, I wouldn't go.
Just because it's a little more immediate. But
more stripped down. We talked about it in another video, but
yeah, definitely. And it's got some new stuff to it. I mean, it's mixed by a new mixing engineer for them, at least. Yost from Arion fame, and he's doing 1,000 things these days.
I didn't think the mix was as good as Beyond the Red Mirror, and given the fact that there was less to mix, I was a little disappointed in the mix overall. With Blind Guardian, to me it's all about like the lyrical content, and I'm always hoping for like Lord of the Rings or something a little up my alley, but I didn't.
Yeah, this is a darker album. They got some serious.
They did a subject matter. Might be 2 songs on The Witcher, which I haven't gotten into yet. But
is that what that's about?
I think so.
Okay, yeah, you're probably referring to Deliver Us from Evil. And
is there a song with blood in it?
There's Blood of the Elves. There's elves in The Witcher?
I think so.
Oh, all right.
I don't know. I haven't watched the show.
Clearly, we're not watching.
I'm a big Henry Cavill fan, but I haven't watched the show.
All right. Yeah. So the next one for me is going to be the latest from Becoming the Archetype. These guys took quite a long hiatus.
Okay.
And this one is called Children of the Great Extinction, if I'm not mistaken. Children of the Great Extinction. Okay. And I got a crack on it. This is Amazon these days. Every time I order from Amazon.
I can't order CDs, video games, anything like that. They need to double bubble it or put it in a box, because every time it's like it got stomped on too. I'm like, what happened here?
I don't know. Well, you can always call them; they'll send you a replacement. Just a tip. But anyway, this is a heavy album, and compared to the last thing they put out, which did not have founding member Jason Wisdom, to me this is quite a welcomed return, and it's definitely going to be a grower, because this album is brutal. It's heavy all the way through.
Well, give me a little description. I'm not familiar with them. Stylistically.
They are. Well, they're on the Solid State label, like Demon Hunter, or some other kind of metalcore, hardcore Christian bands.
Okay.
So it's pretty straightforward death metal, I would say.
Mm.
They have their own
and
kind
like
of flair
death metal
to
Christian music. It's the
it's the best. Well, they have a lot of singing too.
yeah.
But it's kind of mixed into like the choruses and stuff like that. But some of the best. I mean, Jason's got some of like the best death metal vocals in the business for sure. I mean, he's one of the best. He's awesome.
Okay.
You heard him a bit on that Terra Maze song that came out. I think they released it as a single. Do you know what I'm talking about? It was like a more epic length Terra Maze track.
Oh,
earlier this year.
Oh, the clean. He's saying clean vocals, or
no?
You mean that 20-minute Terra Maze song?
No, they did one earlier this year, I believe. But anyway,
they made a music video out of it. Is that what you're referring to?
I think so. No.
Oh, all right. Well,
anyways,
maybe I'll look it up.
That's another thing Jason did this year.
Okay.
Next up for me is going to be the new Demon Hunter. This is called Exile.
And, that is a cool cover.
Hey, all of their covers are amazing. They've used this logo now for every studio release. This is studio release number 11.
Oh.
And I think for this record, it was. It's not my favorite Demon Hunter record by any stretch. I don't think it's their best. I don't think it's even in their top 3 or 4.
Okay.
But it's a solid album. It just it suffers a bit, I think, from being a little maybe a little too diverse. Like there's just too many different types of songs. But when they hit perfectly. Like so, for instance, I mean, my favorite song on the album, I think by far is the one with Tom England on it.
Okay, yeah, that's one.
So that's
one I did listen to that one. I did like that.
It's really, really good, and you can tell that it was written kind of with him in mind. But that's just a solid song, and it's got some of their heaviest material too. There's a track with Max Cavalera, and that one's pretty intense, pretty brutal. But then there's probably maybe the most singing other than their Peace album, which was entirely meant to be like entirely singing.
Okay.
No aggressive vocals, but at the same time, it's also got some of like the most extreme vocals on it too. So it's a good mix.
Yeah.
Both. But it's a fine album, and definitely makes my list for this year. Next up, more death metal.
Wow, we're gonna have quite the dichotomy here.
Yeah. But this I was looking forward to. This is probably the record I was looking forward to the most this year, and I feel let down a little bit, but I'll get into that. But that's the Halo Effect, which is
the
man. Sorry for all the glare, but this is
those jewel cases. You get rid of those.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, this would have been a great digipack. I don't know why they. But anyway, also another victim of Amazon. But this is, for anybody not familiar, I mean, it was raved about all year, but this is all former members of In Flames, including Mikhail Stane on vocals, who sang on the first In Flames record. He wasn't like an official member, but in a way, it's all former guys who recorded with In Flames.
Okay.
And it sounds like kind of latter period with maybe not latter period, but like Colony era kind of In Flames at times. But it also, this is where I got let down just a tiny bit, is that there were a couple tracks that were a little like newer Dark Tranquillity.
Okay.
And I'm okay with that if it's on a Dark Tranquillity album, but I was really excited for just that old school In Flames sound.
Yeah.
Entirely. And I feel like we got a little too much Dark Tranquillity influence somehow, so I don't even know how that's possible with none of these guys being in that band except the vocalist. But anyway, these guys seem really excited to be doing what they're doing. I think we're going to get more music from them, and I'm stoked for that. Okay, now it lightens up.
Heard good things about that one. Yeah,
it's great. It even has a guest from Matt Heafy on the final track. I think it's the last track. Track 9 or 10, but he does a great job, fine job singing. So lightening things up a bit.
Your number one.
I cheated, so it's my number 2. But because I had to throw 5 and 6 as a tie. But
oh, gotcha.
Next up for me is this project, Troika.
Oh yeah.
DiVirgilio, Morse, Jennings.
That qualifies as a rock album, not a metal album.
Well, I can't rank. I'm just ranking my favorite albums of the year.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, for sure, not metal.
Yeah.
And that was such a highlight for me this year. It's because I probably listened to this the most of anything all year long. Just kept putting it in. I love the vocal harmonies. The songwriting is fantastic. To me, far superior from any of the Neal Morse acoustic stuff, where he's by himself.
Yeah.
To me, just having that collective songwriting, but the collective vocals, lyrics, everything about it is tremendous, and you can't go wrong when you get the sound of Nick and Neal together. That vocal combo singing together is just.
I mean, I would assume, I don't know if they really collaborated on the songwriting itself. It feels like
they did, because yeah, Ross and Nick wrote songs.
Oh, okay.
They pretty much wrote 3 or 4 each, and then they just kind of came in and threw it together. That's what makes it such a cool project, because it's not just Neal wrote the whole thing and then they sang on it a bit. Yeah, but Nick has solo albums. Ross just released his solo album this year, so they're all pretty prolific writers as well. So I hope they do more of this. I don't know where Neal can fit in another band, but they don't have to tour. They just if they collaborate the way they did this one, I'd really love to hear more. So
yeah, could see it happen. Okay. I mean, when they announced it, I'll confess, I was really hoping it would be a progressive rock collaboration.
Yeah,
and I was pretty let down. I mean, it's an enjoyable listen for me. I just prefer Neal's progressive stuff over anything else, and I love Nick's drumming, so I was just hoping I'd get like a full album of his progressive drumming style. And
well, that's what's cool about it to me. I mean, we have Neal Morse solo stuff, we have Neal Morse band, we have Flying Colors, Transatlantic. There's enough prog going on that this was, to me, a bit of a relief. I don't think I needed one more prog project from these guys.
Hey, you can never get enough prog.
Yeah, but you know what though? I like, as I've been diving more into, late 60s, 70s bands, and I want to hear those. I want to hear really tight vocal harmonies. I mean this even got me to check out Crosby, Stills, Nash. I had never checked out their records, and I just wanted to hear kind of more of that sound. So really good. My top pick, already talked about in the previous video we did, but it's going to be Arena. The theory of molecular inheritance. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
It's a mouthful, but I got it.
I know it is.
But I don't have anything to show because I downloaded it. But
and then we did a full review on that album. So
full review, but it is awesome. It's still, like I shared in the previous video. I mean, there was a point, I think it was about track 8 or so, where it came in strong, and I was like, yep, top record of the year. And Troika was hanging on until December or whenever the Arena record came out.
I feel like that album came out like this beginning of 2022, because it feels like it's been a while.
It did. This one?
Like January or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it did. And I'm hanging on to it for a while as far as, my favorite.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I got.
All right. So yeah, mine's going to be a little more on the melodic side. You can see that our contrast of styles that we like. John likes a little more of the extreme stuff. I like stuff that's heavy, but not, the heaviest I'll probably get to is like an Iced Earth or something. Anyway, I can't say that I've ranked them other than my number one. The rest of them are, I didn't put them in order per se. But I'll just for the sake of what we're doing here, I'll just number them. I'll say my number 5 is Arena, Theory of Molecular Inheritance. We did a full review of this album, so not much to add, but I was excited about it when they added Damian Wilson, and the album just didn't disappoint. So I'll just say that. Definitely. I'll say the number 4 is, I can't believe you didn't put him in here, Evergrey, Heartless Portrait.
Gonna do
Evergrey has to be on your your list no matter what.
Well, it being the top 10, I tried. I went back and
Yeah.
listened to it again recently, thinking like I got to get, because I was trying to fill out my, for me, the Arena, Troika, Halo Effect were slam dunks.
Mm-hmm.
Had to be in top 5. Demon Hunter was kind of there by default just because it's just one of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
But that 5 slot, I was like, okay. So I went back and listened to. You may mention this right now, but I went back and listened to The Testament again by Seventh Wonder. I listened to New Threshold again. I was listening to New Evergrade. I was listening to. I was just searching for like, what is this 5 spot, and I couldn't put the Orpheum or Heartless Portrait in there. But go on. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I went back. I think I listened to it last week, and I mean, Evergrade is probably my favorite band, along with Dream Theater. And I think the album is fantastic. It was better giving it a little break and going back to it. It was even better. The songs. Cool. I mean, I wish we didn't have our channel at the time. I wish we could have done a review of this. But the songs that really stick out are Ominous and Call Out the Dark. Had some of the catchiest Evergrade melodies that just really, really stick with you. And this album had a little bit of everything. It was really heavy at times with Great Unwashed and the Orpheum Testament, and then even Save Us is pretty heavy. And then we actually got a full-on kind of like a more ballad, which was missing, I think, on the last 2 albums with Wildfires.
Yeah.
And then Heartless is just so great too. And I think it's better than Escape of the Phoenix.
Oh.
And it's just that's an amazing album.
Okay.
And given the fact that these guys put out an album less than 2 years, after the previous one, it's incredible. I think, like I said before, we kind of just take them for granted because they release albums so often. But
yeah. We might even we'll probably at least be recording this year.
Yeah, I think
year,
so, because they're done with, or Tom's done with Redemption, and I think they're finishing up Silent Skies, so he might have a little time. But.
Yeah.
Anyway, my number 3, another album we reviewed, and that's Threshold, Dividing Lines. And we talked about this album in length. Amazing album, a great follow-up given the fact that their last album I feel like was their career-defining record. So it was a tough album to follow, but I thought, just an amazing album. Maybe a little bit heavier than the previous one, but just tons of great highlights on that record. And again, we did a review of that if you want to check that out. Number 2, I'm going to go with Seventh Wonder, The Testament. Wow. And this album I thought was a really pleasant surprise. After how long we waited for Tiara, I thought this album, their next album would just take forever. And then they announced, sure enough, that the album was on the way. And I think, a month and a half later, it was already out on Frontiers Records. And my main complaint with Tiara was I hated the mix. And every time I go back to it, I just think it's one of the worst mixes I've ever heard. That album needs Jacob Hansen's work, or he needs to fix that album, because it sounds terrible to me. But I love Tiara, but this album I would probably say it's their best. They're a band that kind of keeps getting better. It's mixed by Jacob Hansen, so it's probably their best sounding record.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah.
You know what
I couldn't tell right away, but
yeah,
I thought he possibly did when I heard the first single. But
yeah, it's really it's like crystal clear recording, and everything pops out. And to me, and I've heard other people comment on this about The Testament, it's a fine album. I mean, if we had, if we had that, like, say, right after The Great Escape in, like, closer time frame, so it wasn't like Escape and like what felt like a decade before Tiara.
Yeah.
But that would have been to me the perfect progression. But to me, if you set aside your concerns with the mix, Tiara was a leap forward in my opinion, with the orchestration, with the storytelling.
Yeah.
It's a a challenging story, but it's a hard story.
Yeah.
That's one thing, you know.
I mean,
I think
if I was to just say what are their best songs or what album contains their best songs, I would probably go with Tiara. But the mix it's such a big deal for me. I mean, a mix could just ruin an album. It doesn't matter how good the songs are if it doesn't sound good. Especially the vocals just aren't clear enough. He's too good of a singer that his vocals should never be buried ever. It's a crime.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like we talked about with Borealis, I don't have that same trouble with Tiara. And to me, I mean, I've always had the physical copy. Maybe that helps. And but to me, it's pretty clear. But the thing I was going to say about it though is, I don't think they gave us anything new with this one. And it's a band I want to develop.
You could say that they played it safe, or but I don't know. It's the album I listened to the most this year, and I've listened to it. It's the one album that my 3-year-old will listen to. That that of the music that I like, other than Disney soundtracks. So every time we're in the car, she tells me to play it, and so I must have played it 100 times, and I don't get tired of it. It's just such an easy listen. Maybe that's what I needed. And I don't know. Well, I feel Tommy's just so awesome on this one. And I think they wrote it pretty quickly, and I mean, given the fact that they did, I just think it doesn't feel rushed per se. And lyrically, I thought it was really strong. I would say that's one thing Seventh Wonder doesn't always, do best is just lyrical content. Sometimes it's a little too romantic, a little too cringy at times. And I thought these are a little more serious lyrics about the different human emotions. And I love that there was a instrumental that was something that I felt like they needed maybe on other albums, and it's great. And I would say if they had one more song, or maybe threw in like a 12 to 14 minute epic or something, I think it would. Maybe that's what it needed. But it's the album I'm going to listen to most from them. So, so I had to maybe say it's their best. Yeah. And my number one, as I mentioned before when we did a review of this album, would be Borealis Illusions.
Okay.
And I love their previous record, The Offering, and I was just anticipating this record for so long. And then like maybe a few weeks before it came out, it came to my attention that it was a sequel to the previous record, and that just got me so excited to kind of go back into a story that I really got into. And I mean, music provides some escapism already, but this just added an extra element for me, and it was just awesome. I think it's their best record. The addition of Vikram was huge. I think they needed a really super talented keyboard player, world-class player. Yeah. And he really helped those songs, and it's an album I'll be listening to 5 years from now for sure. It's that good in my mind. And they're a band that's something heavy. They're almost the heaviest that I would listen to, but they're also super melodic at the same time. So I get kind of the best of both worlds, similar to Evergrey. And
great songs on that album. Like I said, wishful thinking here, but I'm waiting for the acoustic version of that album.
The songs are great. Orchestral versions of the songs. But
wasn't there? Yeah. Did they release a whole orchestral version of the album?
I don't know if it's whole album.
I saw it on Apple Music.
Oh, maybe they did. I was kind of seeing that they were doing like track by track, but I thought it was only a few songs. But maybe if they did, then I'll have to check that out.
I need to check it out. I'll check it out on the way to work today.
Sweet.
Yeah. All right. You want to do some honorable mentions?
Are we gonna do that, or are we gonna do what we're looking forward to in 2023?
We gotta do both.
All right.
I think so. My honorable mentions is your list.
Okay.
I like that.
I like it a lot.
Sounds good. With the exception of your number one, which was
with the exception of the number one. But all the stuff that I left out: Threshold, Borealis, Evergrey, Seventh Wonder. That's pretty much covers it.
Yeah.
Any
There's one that comes to mind. I thought I had nothing, but
Yeah.
the new James LaBrie solo album.
Yeah, for sure.
The title is kind of eluding me, but do you remember what it was? Pleasant? Is it Pleasant? No, it's Fate's Warning.
It's Beautiful Shade of Grey.
Beautiful Shade of Grey. Okay, yeah, it's really good. I mean, I like the kind of the acoustic approach. It's different. I think James sounds great, and the songs overall were really solid. So
yeah, I wish that's one for me. I wish we, had this channel up and running when it came out.
Yeah,
and I have to say, I'm not the biggest fan of even Mole Muzzler or any of the other James LaBrie solo records. To me, it's like if you're gonna do it, I would much rather hear the singer do something different.
Yeah.
And I think agree. That's what we got with this new James LaBrie record was, and also, I mean, I went over my tops. I mean, like I didn't need like another, attempt at a progressive metal album. I wanted.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And also, it's more to like showcase different sides of his voice, and this record does that for sure.
Yep.
His lyric writing, etc. So I mean, yeah, easily my favorite James LaBrie solo album for sure. And that would be probably in the top 10 for me this year. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there might be a couple others. Nothing's really like comes to mind or off the top of my head. I have to go back through.
Yeah.
But so let's talk about maybe a few albums that we're looking forward to this year that either we know they're coming out or we hope that there's gonna be something. Yeah, just hoping.
Yeah. Well, number one for me is the new In Flames.
Okay.
From the first the first 4 singles that have been released, man, I'm super excited about it. It's I can't wait. I've streamed probably just as excited as I was for the Halo Effect going into this 2022. I hope it doesn't disappoint, but I mean I feel like if
there's 4 singles, you should get a good idea.
Pretty good sample, right?
Yeah, it's a good sample. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm really stoked for that. The other one is going to be I think probably, I mean, I do hope there's a new Symphony X record that just sort of appears by the end of the year.
Yep.
Just
I'm kind of counting on it. I'm predicting it'll come out in June. That's my prediction.
Sure.
June or July. Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, I'm trying to remember there's probably some we've talked about. It's just nothing. Really.
There's a couple more that I'll.
You'll remind me.
The In Flames.
The In Flames one is February, so that's like most immediate, probably. On my mind. But go ahead. What are some of yours?
Well, the new Ostura album, for sure.
Oh, right.
And I actually messaged the keyboardist, and he said that they received the final masters. So I would anticipate that there would be a single in the next couple of months.
Nice.
But I don't know if we talked about The Room yet. I don't know if we mentioned it, maybe. But
no, but
that was
if we did more Desert Islands, it would be there eventually.
Yeah, it'll be on our next one for sure. It's like the best progressive metal record in maybe of the decade or the last 10 years. It's up there. It's close. It's so good.
It's amazing.
And super excited to hear who the special guest singer is.
Yep.
So it's going to be amazing. I know they spent a lot of time crafting it. So another one you might not be looking forward to as much as me, but I'm excited for the new Camelot. I expect a new single and video within the next couple of weeks. I think it comes out probably late February or maybe early February. So it's coming soon. I actually love the last record. It really, really grew on me. I forgot what it was called. Phantom something. Or am I off? I know the single's Phantom Divine. Something. I want to say it's Phantom something, but I can't remember. Anyway, I really like their last record. I'm excited. Anything with Tommy, I'm pretty pumped. And this record took them quite a while. It seems like it's a big gap between records. So next one, the new Redemption record is coming out soon.
Oh, yeah.
We got the first single, and the first single, to be honest with you, didn't blow me away. It doesn't sound like Jacob Hansen mixed it. I'm sure he did, but it didn't usually Jacob Hansen mixes are pretty obvious, and they're usually just perfect.
Yeah, it's a heavy track. It's kind of a lot like
maybe because it's so heavy.
Yeah, what was the record before The Art of Loss?
What's that called? I can't remember the name of it. It's probably my least favorite Redemption record, so I don't go to it a lot.
But maybe it kind of reminds me of like the Noonday Devil sound, kind of.
Yeah.
Like you know, pretty heavy. But yeah, I'm super stoked for it. I mean, the last one was so good. You know, I feel like they really tightened up the songwriting and got it. Yeah, you know, they're their own thing. Nobody sounds like Redemption, but I'm excited.
Oh, this Mortal Coil was
this Mortal Coil. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, yep. And I think Vikram said he was the co-producer on this new record, okay. So we might get more of a keyboard presence on this, which they've never really had. I mean, they always had keyboards, but they're kind of in the background. But might have maybe some orchestration stuff.
Yeah, I'm hoping, and I thought the last record captured better balance of this, but I really don't need 6 shredders like just subbing in guitar solos after every verse.
Yeah,
that's one thing about Redemption I'm just not a fan of. It's just it's too much. I'm like, okay, I get it. So less of that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Even as a guitar player, I'm like, okay,
yeah.
I mean, look, Roderick, Poland, amazing. I get it.
Yeah.
But okay. Anyway.
What was my last one? Oh yeah, I was hoping. Obviously, we're both hoping that there's a new Symphony X.
Right.
That would immediately go to the top of my list because it's been so long. It's been, I think we're going on 8 years now. It's just crazy. And then another one. My last one, probably the new Catatonia. I like the first 2 singles so far, and I was such a big fan of their last 3 records, really.
Mm-hmm.
So the second single didn't grab me as much as the first, but I'm pretty confident it's going to be a really solid album. And I think that comes out in January or February, so it's coming up really soon. So that's my list so far. Yeah, I think so. Could be mistaken, but
yeah, I'm running through the list. Well, we got like as far as our favorites, right? We got Blind Guardian last year, so that's obviously not happening. We know Dream Theater is going to start writing at the end of the year, so that's definitely not happening.
Yep.
Iced Earth is, it's subject for another day. Fates apparently was done with the last record, so it's kind of a weird time where, fortunately, we are discovering newer bands and stuff, which is great. We have that to look forward to. But I mean, our absolute favorites, really, we're talking bands. For the most part, the ones that started in the 80s.
Yeah. I mean, they're getting to that age where it's like, how many more years do they have left?
Yeah.
I would maybe a new Evergrey at the end of the year. I wouldn't be surprised.
They could sneak it out. Those guys could do it.
Yeah, they don't mess around.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, those are our lists, our favorite albums of 2022.
Yep.
We're hoping to have a lot more content in 2023. We kind of slowing down towards the end of the year, kind of busy with holiday stuff, but hopefully we have some stuff, a lot of stuff on the horizon, do a lot more reviews since we're starting at the beginning of the year, so we could cover everything we want to cover. So
definitely.
Anyway.
All right. Well, that's it for us today on the Brothers of Metal. I want to wish everybody a happy New Year.
Yeah,
Take
absolutely.
care, guys.
Take care.